earthquake just triggered at 14:46 Japanese Standard Time and lasted for 6 minutes. The magnitude of the earthquake reached 9.0 on the Richter scale and had devastating results. The earthquake's epicenter, which triggered 43 miles off the coast of Japan, set a huge tsunami in motion towards Tohoku, Sumatra, and the island itself. National police have confirmed that there have been over 15,000 people killed, 6,000 injured, and 3,000 missing from the total damage of the tsunami and the earthquake. The earthquake moved so suddenly that Japan was lifted 8 feet nearer to the Eurasian plate. The wave carried much further than authorities expected, traveling 6 miles inshore. In addition to killing thousands of people, the tsunami has caused a cooling failure in the Fukushima Daiichi nuclear power plant. And now, there have been power failures across Japan for those that relied on the plant for power. The plant is additionally leaking 300 tons of radioactive water into the Pacific Ocean every day. Estimated damage has been about 25 trillion yen, which approximates 300 billion American dollars. Over to Nathan, who is now live.
Nathan Smith reporting live from the cleanup scene of the devastating tsunami. As you can see, the tsunami has leveled almost all lower structures and has moved all cars and other vehicles. Right now there's a military team on the spot that is picking up survivors and fixing small structures. There was an earthquake and then a warning for a tsunami, but an hour later, a 35-foot high wave hit and continued mainland. Here we have a survivor ready to speak with us now. What was Japan expecting before this tsunami hit?
It was very underestimated, as it did more damage than the actual earthquake did.
Where were you when the tsunami came through?
I was in Riku Zentakata, where being in a building of 3 stories, the wave somehow reached the top of some of the buildings around me.
Is there anything else interesting you'd like to share with us today?
I saw this strange thing in the water, which people nearby were taking pictures of, that looked like a whirlpool. Yeah, it was weird.
We heard there were some damages to the nuclear power plants. Did this affect you at all?
I only heard sounds of destruction coming from the city nearby, and I did see smoke in the distance.
Have you received any news about Tokyo recently?
One of my friends I met up with said that there was stuff from the power plants leaking into the ocean.
How do you think other survivors will be living after this crazy scenario?
There's going to be a lot of people living without water and power, at least until the power plants are restored.
I'm here with geologist Lucas Gurney, and he's going to explain the science behind the tsunami and how and why it occurred.
Thank you, Nathan. The tsunami occurred because of an earthquake just off the coast of Japan.
Can you tell us why the earthquake happened?
Yes, earthquakes are caused by a sudden release in tension in the fault breaks. This particular earthquake took place on the subduction zone, where there are 2 tectonic plates, and one moves beneath the other. This one is called the subducting plate. As this plate subducts, it builds tension because friction resists movement. Eventually, the tension is released, and when it does, Earth's crust snaps and shakes. In this case, the plates involved were the Pacific plate and the North American plate.
Can you tell us how tsunamis occurred?
Yes, when the tension is released and the ground shakes, there's a huge displacement of water, which causes a fast-flowing wave. Tsunami is a series of waves caused by displacement of water. These waves can be over 100 feet and travel at speeds of up to 50 miles per hour.
I noticed the civilians were warned too late. Civilians were evacuated a little too late. Is there anything we can do to get a warning in sooner?
Yes, if you're near the beach, it especially is a tell. The water line goes as far out as if it was in low tide, and even though your natural reaction is to go out and swim, this is the wrong thing to do. Even if you want to make out with fiancé, it doesn't necessarily mean you should. Even if you want to go and swim, as the water goes out, you should consider the consequences before taking action. Also, the earthquake should be a heads up because earthquakes are the #1 cause of tsunamis. This is especially true on convergent subduction boundaries like Japan.
Thank you very much. This is Lucas Gurney.
You're welcome. It's my pleasure.
ago there was a huge earthquake. It was so big that it caused the ground to shake. The shake spurred a wave on a deadly trail, and it soared to the shore to cause terrible ail. Tsunamis are caused by a tremor in the ground, spurred by an earthquake that knocks water around. The water, as it travels in towards the shallow shore, begins to suck the water till there isn't any more.
The 35-foot waves sent 15,000 to the grave. We know that not enough were saved, and now that's why we rap and rave.
Although the people tried to run, you cannot run. Tsunamis on the wave is huge and blocked the sun. It crashed the cars and killed the fun. The falling buildings weighed a ton. The Japanese, they hadn't won. Apparent death began to come, their lives were done.
When the water goes out, a lot of silly people fall. I'm wondering if they found something nice, although we know that there's little you can do if there's a big tsunami coming and they're overtaken by the wave. There isn't anyone.
It hit particularly hard because there wasn't any warning. The authorities, they said there was no tsunami in the morning. Clearly wrong, as we could see the people felt like ecstasy, and so the perfect wave it came, danger crashing frightfully.
35-foot waves sent 15,000 to the grave. We know that not enough were saved, and now that's why we rap and rave.
Although the people tried to run, you cannot run. Tsunamis on the wave is huge and blocked the sun. It crashed the cars and killed the fun. The falling buildings weighed a ton. The Japanese, they hadn't won. Apparent death began to come, their lives were done. Tried to run, you cannot run. Tsunamis on the wave is huge and blocked the sun. It crashed the cars and killed the fun. The falling buildings weighed a ton. The Japanese, they hadn't won. Apparent death began to come, their lives were done.
Scientifically speaking, they are caused by building tension. The plates on contact start to stress more than enough to mention, and at the point of friction, the stress is suddenly released.
The reactors in the city didn't handle very well. People still are full of pity for all the lives that quickly fell. And the money that was spent for recovery and food was appalling to be spent, and money spending had ensued.